Hey guys, welcome back. Today I really want to tackle this area down here, which is where my end portal brings me in. And I mentioned before that I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with it, but I think I've finally come up with an idea which I am really excited about. So you see, I kind of see this area as my entrance, for obvious reasons, but I tried to think about what that makes it in this reality, and what it probably means is that this is essentially a maintenance entrance, which I think we can do something really cool with. You know, have some workspace, some storage, and that sort of stuff, and just try and make it look really lived in and functional. But in order to do that, we need to change pretty much everything here. The floor, the stairs, the walls. I think it could all do with a bit of a revamp and just take out all of the endstone and bring some of the rest of the hub down here before making it feel like a really functional space. But as is so often the case, there's not really any point in just talking about it. Let's get to work. And we are done. I'm really sorry for not having the usual time lapse for you. For some reason my recording has some weird ghost blocks that I couldn't seem to get rid of, which just ruined the whole thing. But that just means I'll get to show you guys around and you'll get to see all of it with me for the first time, which is pretty nice really. So anyway, as I mentioned, the first thing I needed to do was get rid of all of the endstone, and as you can see, we most definitely achieved that. I decided to bring the cobbled deep slate down from the pathway so it just felt consistent, and since I like the sea lantern and warp trapdoor design so much, I decided to implement that into the walls down here, and it definitely makes this feel like an industrial space, which is perfect for our maintenance entrance. But just because it's for maintenance doesn't mean it can't also look good. From here you can see all of the hanging lanterns, and I love this look. I'd already given this staircase a bit of an archway so it would look good from down here, but adding these lanterns gives it a certain vibe which I really like. But anyway, let's move down the stairs and take a proper look at this place. And you'll notice that instead of keeping the stairs as a 5 wide the whole way down, I decided to move the stairs out to meet the new walls so it feels a little bit grander and also feels like it fits the space a bit more, because I think it would have looked a little bit strange otherwise, as I would have had to introduce like railings and things, which I think would have been a little bit much. But from here you can see the full entrance, and there are a lot of details in here which I really want to share with you. So let's start with this right side. And this is definitely the more functional side of the entrance, and I think it has a lot of what a maintenance person would need to look after this place. There's storage for extra materials, a stone cutter for if a piece of a walkway got damaged, anvils to look after their tools, and then this, which is a pair of shears for keeping the hedge maze in check, because let's be honest, if that thing was actually real, it would take so much maintenance to keep hold of so it didn't just get completely overgrown. And the multiple anvils is probably a little bit of an overkill, but it just means that they're ready for any situation. And then also, since these walls are so high, I decided to add some shelves for a little bit of decoration, which I think definitely helps make it not feel quite so disproportionately tall. And then if we look at the main area, it's, as you expect, mostly just empty, and the obsidian of the spawn platform unfortunately can't be changed or covered, but I don't think it looks too bad. At one point I was considering making the whole floor down here obsidian, so it would just blend in, but I really like the idea of having the cyan carpet with the ender chests which give it these particle effects, so I just decided to go with that in the end, and I think it was the right choice because I just love the way these particle effects look. And then at the back, I did add this glass pane barrier to the edge of the platform because it felt a little weird to just have it completely open to the void. I'm not entirely sure why it felt weird, considering everywhere else in the hub is just open to the void, but either way, I really like it, and it does make it kind of feel like a balcony, which is really cool. And then we have the other side of the entrance, and this is the workbench area. But first, of course, we need to talk about the map. Now, it's not ideal. In an ideal world, I'd make this transparent with glass, but I dread to think how much glass that would take. So instead, we've got this dull grey, which isn't too distracting because the background's grey anyway. And I just do love the idea of the maintenance area having this map where they can plot all the different things and what needs doing and just always know where everything is. And I do also have to say that from above, this place really does look as vibrant as I'd hoped, which is really nice to see. But anyway, the workbench has some nice little details which I'd love to share. So, first we have a sea lantern, which is basically a spare bulb both for down here and also up in the ring upstairs, because, I mean, one of these has to break eventually, right? And it just means they're always ready for that. And then we've got some bits of paper which probably have some plans and notes for different projects that are going on. And then we have a beacon, which is another spare light bulb, but this time for the few street lamps that we have in both the church quarter and the library quarter. And then finally, we have what is probably my favourite little detail, and this is this stack of glass panes. And these are replacement panes for the stained glass in the church in case one of them gets smashed by a stray ball or something. And I know that ultimately I probably overused the armor stand data pack slightly, but something like this wouldn't be possible without it, and it just adds so much more life. I love it. I wish there was a way for Minecraft to put this in vanilla, because I just feel like everyone should be able to decorate in these cool little ways. And that is the new maintenance entrance, which feels so much better than the old one. I mean, if you stand here, which is about where I usually spawn in, before all you used to see was a bunch of endstone and some stairs, which was serviceable, don't get me wrong, but this feels so much nicer and like it's a proper part of the project now, which feels amazing. And really, out of everywhere in the hub, this is the bit that's designed for me rather than the villagers. I mean, technically it's all for me and I love it, but you know, in the story of this place, this is the bit that's mine and I really like that. And it's very weird to think, but that does mean that the hub itself, as in the island, is done. The middle's done, all of the quarters, the towers, and now down here is all complete. So the only things we've really got left to deal with are the other side of this portal and then the void itself. And I think next episode we're probably going to start getting our planets and galaxies and everything going in the void. I imagine that is probably going to take at least a couple of episodes because I want to build quite a few things, and building over the void always takes way more time than you'd think. And I also want to be very careful with where I place things because I love the idea of using the natural fog effect of Minecraft to make things appear and disappear from view as you move from one side to the other. And I don't know if you can tell, but I honestly can't tell you how excited I am for this part of the project, or how scared I am that I'm not going to pull it off in the way I'm hoping. But I'm not going to let that fear stop me, because after all, even if it doesn't turn out exactly right, there will definitely be things I've learned along the way from doing it, and that's just as important as getting things right in the end. But for now, I'm going to have to leave this episode here. I think it may be a little short given my time-lapse didn't work properly, but hopefully next time when we get started on the void, it will all be worth it. But until then, thank you guys for watching, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!